First, live, local. This is Fox 12 Now.
And hello, everyone. Welcome to Fox 12 Now. I'm Greg Nibbler here with Will Metzold. Will joining us to talk about something pretty exciting today. Before we get into that, I just want to remind you, this is Fox 12 Now. And we are live here every weekday at 1 p.m. Pacific. And so we appreciate everybody who joins us, wherever you're tuning in from. Thanks for being a part of this, whether you're watching on YouTube Live or on our apps or on the website. Any of those places are great places to catch us. And of course, you can always leave comments on the YouTube channel, whatever those may be. Sometimes I like them, sometimes I don't. It doesn't really matter. It's your opinion, so go ahead and leave them on there. And I know there are a lot of opinions about what we are talking about today because this has to do with the idea of bringing a ferry back to Portland. That's Maine, inside Portland, metropolitan Portland, having a commuter ferry. You know, we have bridges, we have trains, we have so many different ways to get around. But a ferry is one that has not been here for a very long time.
Ton of options actually right now, and I think the organizers, leaders who are behind the ferry proposal, pilot plan in Portland would really love that to be another option for people to easily get from one side of the city to the other, and maybe more conveniently.
Yeah, and I mean this is called the Frog Ferry. So if you haven't heard of this, they've been pushing for this for quite a while. Actually, it's been a few years that they've been in the works.
6 years.
6 years.
I found out has they've been looking into it and working on it.
And we actually did an interview here on Fox 12 Now. This was over 2 months ago, I believe, with one of the founders, and we may play that here later on in the show, but a lot has developed just even in the last couple of months. And Will, you were actually out there at a press conference for the ferry that happened here recently.
Yeah, they called it the Portland Ferry Conference.
Okay.
Yeah, to
aptly named.
Yeah, to sum it up, and that meant they covered pretty much all aspects of what a ferry in Portland would possibly look like and how it would run. So they had many different people who have been involved with this from the beginning. As you just mentioned, they have been working on this project and had the idea going back 6 years from now. So it's been a long time coming for sure. A lot of behind the scenes work that goes on with that, and just studying what you need to do, how it would actually run, how popular it would be, how many passengers you could get on it, things like that. So pretty much all of that was presented and made public at this Portland Ferry Conference that was held last week. And obviously the people there are all totally ready to go, and they are behind this and big supporters of it. So you could kind of sense all of that going on at this conference. There's a lot of just heightened excitement and momentum to try to get passenger ferry service here in Portland. And so a lot of interesting information for sure that came out of it. They had people who have done this kind of thing before in other cities where they have passenger ferry service talk about where Portland is right now, how it would possibly grow and work in Portland's transportation system with the current infrastructure that's already set up, and kind of what else still needs to happen from this point. So they talked about just the things that need to happen to run a passenger ferry in Portland, and what might work from other cities in this city, just the way that it all needs to end up functioning in the end. There was an expert from King County in Seattle, where they run a large amount of ferries.
Yeah, huge ferries.
Yeah, for getting people across the Puget Sound.
Right.
And talked about just kind of what he's trying to help with and the assistance he's trying to provide here. But they have been working with them for many years, several years at this point for sure. So they're kind of far enough along in that process where it's actually you can visualize it now that it could be in Portland. The main issue that they're waiting for is more money, because this is not a low cost endeavor.
Right.
Of course.
Yeah, that's huge.
This
building out an
costs a lot.
entirely new infrastructure, essentially.
Yeah, for sure. And the actual the boat that needs to go on operate this ferry, it would be a big cost too. So all of this came out, but like I said, the main overall feeling that comes out of it is a positive, and that this probably will happen.
That it is probably going to happen. That's what they thought.
Yeah, that's what came out of it. I mean, that's probably the thing that I was watching the closest for is to look at what the percentage
Is this funding going to come through? And
percentage is that this is actually going to start, but and seems more likely.
For those of you watching too, let us know your opinion. If you're on a platform that you can comment on, let us know. Is this something that you'd be interested in or not? Would you use a ferry to commute or not? And I even posted on Twitter about this. I got one response that was immediately yes. The other one was immediately hell no. So, there's some varying opinions on there. But looking at, just Portland, it does seem kind of interesting that we don't have a ferry system, considering, it's River City is one of the nicknames. We've got, we've got two pretty big rivers going through, and yet no ferries here in the Portland area versus, Seattle and San Francisco, that makes more sense. But even smaller cities have some kind of ferry system around there.
We were just talking about this before we went on live here, and I just want to ask, would you think you might try this out?
I think I would, in that I don't know. For me, commuting, I wouldn't really have much need since I'm coming out here to Fox 12, Oregon, where we don't have a river right next to us to commute to. But using it in downtown, going from, and we're going to get into this too, talking about the route, but going from, say, downtown to Cathedral Park, I think that would be interesting just from a entertainment standpoint.
Yeah.
As far as if I wanted to go do something in St. John's, that's a lot easier to get to than driving. I know there's mass transit already that goes there, but it would take longer than the proposed times. And I think we're going to get into that too. Actually, maybe we should walk through what those are. Kind of the suggested times on how that would work. A quick history though of that before anybody brings that up. Portland did have ferries, just so you know. The regular ones ended about 1925. I was just looking this up, and that was right before the Selwood Bridge was built. It was the Spokane ferry that would carry people from back and forth across the river. There was a Sauvie Island one, if you count that one, but that ended in 1950, and since then, there hasn't been any. There are some in rural Oregon on the Willamette River. I grew up actually next to one of those near Independence, Oregon. It's the Buena Vista Ferry, and I know if you look at that, the Spanish pronunciation is Buena Vista. Rural Oregon is called Buena Vista, but that is the ferry that's down there, and it's still in operation, carrying people back and forth across the Willamette.
Yeah, see, people that are here know what they're doing, know how to do these.
Yeah, and this would be much more elaborate, I think, than what that is even. So taking a look at this, we'll pull up their website.
Right, this is the actual ferry that they are talking about, that they've come up with a design for that would be running this route. And
it's pretty cool looking, I'll say that.
I think so too, yeah. I like the color scheme there. But at this conference, they talked about the actual shape and look of the ferry is very different and unique to the river that it runs on. Some rivers have different, I guess, descriptions to them or different things with them where you need to kind of adjust the type of
I guess that makes
boat
sense.
that runs on it. Yeah,
you have a river, you even have a tide coming in and out because of the Columbia, so that does kind of make sense that it would need to be specified specifically for this.
Yeah, and you have to think about for some of these the docks that they're going to be using too, because they have to be able to go up to the docks.
Yeah, and that's, I guess, a quick question on that. Did they address that? Are they going to use existing docks, or do you know if they're going to have to build all brand new ones for that?
A lot of them are going to have to be new.
Yeah.
And so that's one big challenge that they're facing. I think the only one maybe that is already there is the River Place Marina downtown.
Okay.
So that one they're okay with, and would be on the stop on the pilot project, one of the stops on the pilot project, which would be their proposed first route. So that one is there. The one at Cathedral Park in St. John's would have to be built. So
built from scratch.
That still to go too. And then
be a little closer
and then
up.
once they expand out of that, there would be a lot more that they would need because they are planning several more stops specifically in Portland.
That would go along those routes. Yeah, here, I'll pull this up correctly there. So there we go.
This is a really good look.
Yeah, kind of and the idea of going Cathedral Park up there in St. John's, down to River Place in Portland.
Yeah, that's the pilot route, which would be the first one that would start when they actually were able to.
Okay. And then going from there, and here we'll go back here. We're switching around to a couple different things to give you an idea. But that route would be 25 minutes, and that I think that's a pretty good. That's not bad.
Yeah, I'd say that's reasonable. Yeah.
I mean, traffic. If you try to drive anywhere in Portland, I know everybody complains about traffic everywhere, but seriously, during rush hour, it's a long time.
Yeah.
It takes quite a while, and so that I would think people would use that if you're going from those two specific areas or you live near those areas.
Right. They talked about one of the reasons why St. John's was selected for the pilot route is that area sometimes feels a little cut off from the rest of the city.
It does.
And just kind of like there's not much way to interact with everyone else in the businesses, the main business downtown area, things like that. They kind of feel a little bit at a disadvantage.
It's a little difficult to get to, compared to a lot of the other spots in the rest of the city.
Yeah, and they've performed interviews with people there and just done community outreach to kind of, get that same kind of feedback from them and hear those things that they're hoping for out of this.
And looking here, there's some proposed other stuff. Well, here's the schedule too, if anybody wants to look at that. That might be a little too small for you to see on your screen, but the idea would be running in the mornings from 5 a.m. to 9 a.m. or 5:25 to 9:25, depending on where you're at. So 5 a.m. from Cathedral Park, arrives 25 minutes later downtown, and then in the evening, it'd be 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. essentially, kind of the same thing. And this would just be, I'm guessing by this, just one ferry that's going back and forth.
Yeah, that's how they would start. Yeah,
okay.
They would just start with the one, just because that's what they would be able to pay for.
Right. And what about price? Do you know if they said anything about that?
Yeah, they're looking at $3.50 for adults.
Oh.
For one way.
Yeah, that's not.
Yeah, that's.
I mean, honestly,
very easy.
This doesn't. It seems. I don't know if I would use this personally very often, other than I would like to use it on, say, the weekends or evenings just to go to St. John's. I mean, that's a cool area that I don't go to very often.
Yeah, I mean, you do have to have a reason.
Yeah, but
if you live there but work downtown, man,
downtown, or even just go downtown to connect to the max.
Yeah,
if you're commuting elsewhere.
Yeah,
that would probably be I would think an easier way. Again, I'm not one of those commuters though, so I couldn't tell you for sure. I don't know what the travel times are right now. This all seems like a pretty interesting thing to bring back. I guess, how much it would cost, that's probably a lot what they've put into it, but that's why they're looking for that funding, going back to that.
Yeah, that's where they're at right now, where this is going to be, a costly project to put on. It totals about $11 million, and this is basically just a, community grassroots organization that started up and needs that money to be able to get to where they can start this ferry.
Yeah.
The nice thing with what is available is there is specific money in federal money that's available just for ferry operation. So there is money that funds that from the federal government.
Okay.
But the issue is that you need to have an existing government partner to be able to receive those funds and apply for them. They do not.
Gotcha.
They do not have somebody who's endorsing them yet, like the city of Portland. Who is really.
So a private organization can't just say, "Oh, we're going to start up a ferry and get those funds."
Yes, they do need to have an association with a public organization like the city. So that's kind of where they're at. That's the main kind of hold up at the moment.
And you were saying that it seems like the city of Portland maybe or they seem optimistic that it's going to happen.
It does, yeah. Talking to the president here of the Frog Ferry, she said that they were supposed to come on the agenda, I believe April, but then some other things came up and they weren't able to. But they have had those discussions already, and they should, knowing that they were close there to being on the city council's schedule, they should come up here, I would think, shortly, because their goal is to have it operational in 2025. So to be able to get to that point,
quick.
you need to do the work. For that.
I would imagine they still have to build the ferry itself too. So
the docks.
Yeah, and the docks and all of that infrastructure.
Hire and train crew, because they'll all be new to this.
Yeah, I did see this is coming from their website talking about it. They say St. John's. Okay. Oh, because it would join OHSU and commit. Put that there with 300 staff and all of that influence. They've done studies with OHSU staff that said they would have a pretty strong interest in using it too, I think. Yeah. And that's true. Portland State is also downtown, so even if you think about some of the other possibilities there for commuting.
Right. So, to get to that downtown area, that would be pretty pretty convenient if you look at what the other ways are. I mean, you've got the Max, which it doesn't. It stops several places. This is a very central place, so you know you'd be going kind of right in the middle of downtown.
Yeah.
And of course, cars, which can be its own challenge with trying to find where with parking and traffic. Buses,
Yeah, buses. I mean, they're showing here actually some of these opportunities. So they would accept bicycles on the ferry. That's definitely a big thing. Walking, obviously, scooters. But yeah, connecting to the streetcar, Max, TriMet, Kiss and Ride. I don't know what Kiss and Ride is. That's off the top of my head. I'm just going to be honest with you. It says Kiss and Ride on there. I'm not sure what that is.
Not sure either.
But either way, it connects to it. And then Uber and Lyft, of course. So yeah. This is the proposal, but that's what we wanted to bring up here and talk about some more of, and just get opinions and bring this to you in case you hadn't heard about it. And
yeah, I think that's like one major thing at this point still is why would you use it?
Yeah,
what
it's neat, but am I going to use it?
Yeah, is it something that you would like to see?
Yeah,
where exactly? If you are thinking about it, if you do like it, where exactly would you want to see it?
Yeah.
We talked about the pilot route, but if they get started, they plan to go even more places than just this.
Let's just talk about that really quick. What these other proposed stops were, I believe it was.
Yeah, it would go up to Vancouver.
Up to Vancouver, all the way to Vancouver.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they have the map with where else they would be headed after. They might not.
Okay.
But they did show it at the conference. So from Vancouver.
And then going south a ways as well, it was
down to Oregon City eventually.
Yeah, down to Oregon City. So that would be, here's a little bit more. I don't know if this shows the extended part, but yeah, extending there from that. Vancouver, Milwaukee, stop at OMSI, maybe the Moda Center.
Right.
Yeah, which is a lot of different stops that you would.
Yeah, I think Oaks Park might be in there too. Lake Oswego.
Lake Oswego.
They said
Yeah, so that's clearly down the road a ways. If this were to be expanded.
Right. But they're thinking about fitting it into the transportation plan as a whole through that. I mean, as far as making an alternative to cars or anything else.
Well, and if they could get the Vancouver part in, because you're not going to have a new bridge within the next 4 years.
No.
That's just not happening. Who knows when that's ever going to happen. So having a commuting option even to Vancouver, say it was, I don't know how long it would take, but if you're at Cathedral Park in 25 minutes, say they had one, you're there in 40 minutes or whatever to Vancouver, maybe less. That's not a terrible option either. Vancouver's built quite a district down there in downtown Vancouver.
Yes.
This would really be, other than bus, there's no Max. That could be a pretty good connection right there.
Yes.
Of doing that. And then another option too, just looking at this from the tourist standpoint. I don't know if anybody's ever been on a boat down on the Willamette River. I'm sure a lot of people have, but it's a pretty cool way to look at the city. Yes, there are some things that, there are some people who have made themselves some riverfront property on the Willamette River. That's true. There's that, some built up.
Yes.
Yeah, some
makeshift
riverfront property. But it is also a really cool way to see the city and its different look from it. And from a tourist standpoint, that could be another way to actually bring in some more dollars.
Yeah, I thought,
especially during the summer.
Yeah, I thought so too. It's not quite what it is in the gorge as you go further east in Oregon, but it's a kind of a mini one because you've got some pretty high elevation with the city view on your if you're going north on the right side. That's the city. Then you've got Forest Park.
That's true.
That you're looking at, and nice West Hills over there.
Yep, and going under the bridges. I mean, the St. John's Bridge and all of that.
Incredible.
It's a great way to see.
Historic.
Yeah, historic. See the city in a different light. And at night, I've been on there when all the bridges are lit up too, with all the lights. It's it's pretty cool. And that would partially go maybe into those kind of hours. So I don't know, a lot to think about with it. But as you said, going back to this, you think that it sounds like this is going to get approved.
Yeah. I mean, just the fact of holding something of this scale. I mean, there's some pretty important people who have been a part of this, who are all together in this one place, and that pretty much makes a statement right there that there's a lot of minds together on this. So I think that it's really getting pretty close, and they think it's something that is worth it in Portland, and that Portland will give it a good response and and welcome it kind of into into the whole mix here and our environment.
Yeah, that's true. Environmentally friendly as well. Actually, adding on to that into our environment and then also the environment.
Yeah, no, that was a major point. It is much better, of course, and cuts down on a lot more emissions, things like that.
Yeah,
that you would see, and gets people out of cars and on a natural body of water.
Well, let us know what you think of that, because that's this is an interesting development, I think, for the city of Portland, and to see where it goes. And yeah, I think there's a lot of positives to this. Obviously, some people will say, why are we spending money on that? That's, there's arguments all over the board on this, but that's what it is. That's what we're bringing you here on Fox 12 Now. A deeper discussion on this, go in depth with a little bit. Hopefully we're giving you some information that maybe you didn't have before, make your own opinions on that. And yeah, so the Frog Ferry may be happening within a couple of years. That is quick. That's quick. So we'll have to see what goes on there. But we do have more at our Fox 12 Oregon YouTube channel, because I did do an interview with Susan, who is the head of that. Like I said, that was a couple of months ago, but some of those points are still in there. This is while they were still gearing up for some of these meetings that you just went to. And then we have all of your coverage as well of following along with this and going to that huge, the Portland Ferry Conference that just happened.
It sounds, so educational.
It is. Yeah. It is. Well, Will, thank you very much.
You bet.
This
is something that's that could be a major change and major new kind of thing that's available here.
Yeah. Well, and we thank you for joining in with us. So again, this is Fox 12 Now, live every weekday at 1 p.m. We're going to go off here for a minute, but then I'm coming back at 2 p.m. So if you're watching this live, set a reminder to come back at 2 p.m. We're going to have John Horvick from DHM Research on to talk about some poll results on Oregonians' opinions on immigration. So there's never any strong opinions on immigration, but we're gonna be discussing those. So we do have the poll results. So these are actually very, very in-depth polls that they do across demographics, across all kinds of things. So it's to find out how people are feeling. And we're going to be going through those results. John's going to be joining us there at 2 p.m. so you can watch live with that as well. And thanks everybody for joining in. Thank you to Will. I'm Greg Nibbler. This is Fox 12 Now. We're signing off for the moment. Back at 2 p.m. We'll see you then.